Hi everyone, you're listening to the Bridgeway podcast. The purpose of these podcasts is to give us the opportunity to share information and thoughts with you and to inspire all of you who work at Bridgeway. As ever, we'd love to hear from you, so if you've got any feedback, please get in touch.
Hi, and welcome to the Bridgeway podcast. As some of you may be aware, we are currently partway through the holy month of Ramadan, which is observed by Muslims throughout the world through prayer, fasting, charitable works, and spending time with family. I'm here today with Farhan and Amani to learn more about what Ramadan means to them. Welcome.
Happy Ramadan, everyone.
Thank you for having us, Sarah.
Happy Ramadan. So, what is Ramadan? Farhan, help me out.
Ramadan is the 9th month of the Islamic calendar. It's considered a holy month because it was the month that the Quran was first revealed to our Prophet Muhammad. So it's considered a holy month. In this month, obviously, we carry out the duty of fasting. We carry out charitable works. It's a month for Muslims to get closer to God. Muslims can get closer to God in the form of reading the Quran or praying. So that is predominantly what a Muslim would do in this month.
And on a personal level, what does Ramadan mean to you?
Ramadan for me begins before Ramadan even begins. Weeks leading up to Ramadan, psychologically and mentally, I start getting into a frame of mind where I would feel comfortable enough and be ready enough to be able to practice my religion more, read the Quran more, pray more, attend the mosque more, becoming closer to the family. So it's a mental challenge as well as a physical challenge because we're trying to maximize the benefits of this month. So we go above and beyond, which we'll probably go over later on. But for me, definitely getting closer to God, praying more, attending the mosque more, surrounding myself with other Muslims, my family members, break our fast with the family members. At the moment, life's a bit chaotic. Got 2 young children, or 3, 5 and a 4-year-old and a 3-month-year-old. So things can get really hectic in the evenings, especially when we're trying to prepare food for breaking our fast in the mornings, waking up for baby feeds, although I'll admit I don't do those. So it gets, time's of the essence, and trying to maximize the prayers, the reading of the Quran right now is kind of challenging. So I'm probably not doing as much as I would have been previously before children, but certainly it's on my mind. So consciously, I'm always thinking about any time I do get outside of rest, and I try to pray.
What about you, Amani?
Yeah, I'm the complete opposite. I'm child-free at the moment, and I still live with my parents, so I kind of rely on my parents to do everything for me. Bless my mum. But yeah, I love Ramadan. It's just a month where I can just strip back, stop thinking about, materialistic things or pressure from society to constantly do better. It's just a month where I'm focusing on other things such as charity, becoming a better person, being nicer, more patient, which I'm pretty sure everyone in the office is going to agree that I am a lot more patient this month. Also just changing bad habits and carrying them forward, because I think it's important, and we kind of get caught up with everything in this world, and it's nice to just have a month dedicated to just focusing on being better, bettering yourself, getting closer to your religion, learning more about your religion, charity. It's also time to reflect on how lucky you are, because every day I can wake up and break fast with my family, whereas some people, they don't get that opportunity. So I enjoy that. That's one of my favourite bits. Yeah.
It sounds like a really positive time, family focused, kind of reconnecting with your faith.
It really is. Like, we have 11 months of just everyone's busy, especially because everyone's growing up. Like, I don't know about for you, but Ramadan now for me, now that I'm working, is completely different to when I was younger. I didn't appreciate those times enough. Just, fasting and spending my 6 weeks holidays and in bed and doing nothing, but now I have to actually get up and work as well as fast and then make time for everything. It makes me more organised and more aware of just how important time is, like Farhan said. And even just because I've got such a big family, and we don't really get time to spend with each other, but I've seen them more these last 3 weeks than I have done probably in the last year, which is really nice. It is really nice to just focus on something else.
That sounds lovely. But as you mentioned, working, there must be some real challenges of working whilst observing Ramadan. What's been your experience, Farhan, especially working on site?
Yeah, I mean, most recently, don't necessarily work on site as much as I used to. Well, I don't midweek at all. Weekends here and there. But certainly when I was working on site, managers then, even when I was in a management position, I'll put myself into night shifts, because night shifts are the periods where you can eat and drink. So if I'm working on roped access examinations, road rail vehicles, mobile elevated working platforms and things like that, where it can be a little bit strenuous, I'd rather be working at night rather than daytime, naturally. So it doesn't matter how long the shift is. It's convenience for me more so than anything else. When you're working away, again, it's not too bad. You live with it. You're designed to live with it. You're not supposed to stop everything else in your life just to focus on praying and observing Ramadan. You live your life at the same time, because, the other thing about Ramadan is appreciation for what you have and what you don't have. There's other people that don't know where the next meal's coming from, etc. So it's having those appreciations that you do have. You're going to be breaking your fast in the evening. You're going to be starting your fast on a good, in a good way, because you'll be hydrating yourself, you'll be consuming nutritious food, etc. So, yeah. In terms of my experience of working on site, it would be focusing on working on night shifts rather than day shifts. Now, working in the office environment, it's not so bad, it's not taxing. Sat down in front of a computer screen, if anything, my eyes start aching more than anything else. So, but yeah, it's perfectly normal. I'm used to it now at this point.
Yeah. Again, I'm on the opposite side of the spectrum. So I'm 7 months deep in Bridgeway. And it's, I'm not going to lie and say it's the easiest thing I've ever done, adjusting to fasting and being at work at the same time. But it's fine. It's just, like Farah said, it's just something you have to get on with. I start a bit later, so the flexible times, they really help, because it's so hard waking up in the morning, especially when you're struggling to go back to sleep, and then you wake up at you fall asleep around 7, and then your alarm's naturally on for 8 to wake up. So I'm glad that I now have flexible working hours. So I'm fine in the morning. It's just more so towards the afternoon, around 3 o'clock, where the headache starts crawling in and my eyes will start to ache. But nothing, a quick little walk around the office won't cure. But it's good. I do enjoy working, because it breaks up my day. If I wasn't working, my day would just drag. So I do appreciate that I have something to do, something to keep me busy.
Is there anything that employers, either kind of previous employers or that Bridgeway are doing actually to help? You've mentioned flexible working. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else that, as an employer, Bridgeway could be doing or that are already doing that really helps?
It can work on an individual basis, I think. Like I mentioned, it suited me working nights. We've got an employee within the department at the moment, Savan. He would appreciate working nights. So the first week he worked nights. He took a week off on leave, and then now he's back in the office. And it's a bit of a difficult transition from working nights, being on leave, where he was most likely up during the nights, observing Ramadan, praying, reading the Quran, etc., and then shifting all of a sudden onto night. So with me and him, I've opened up communications with him, what works for him. Just yesterday I was asking, how was your first day back to the office? Struggle, as you can probably imagine. He started his day at 10. Again, the flexible working hours works for him. I think it's all about having that communication amongst people within the team who are observing Ramadan, understand what works for them and try and accommodate that into your schedules early on, so it's not disruptive later on down the line, like a last minute change. You can probably appreciate the project managers. It'll be difficult for their project managers to navigate staff around to accommodate any changes. So sooner you can carry out those conversations with your staff, the better it is.
Yeah, and I appreciate those conversations a lot. They mean a lot to me. Just my manager, she's just constantly been asking me. Everyone in the office just been constantly asking me, am I okay? If I've been quiet for a few minutes, then they'll say, how's it going? And just being willing to accept whatever I'm asking for. Not like I'm going to ask for the world, but just if I do say I'm going to come in a bit later, being like, okay, that's cool, or saying that I'm going to go take a 5-minute sit down or a walk, and just being okay with it. I feel like I haven't felt any added pressure from work during Ramadan, which has just made it a lot easier. Having that understanding of, okay, Amani's gonna not be as have the same concentration, or she's not gonna be as talkative, is it's nice. I appreciate it a lot.
I'm glad you're getting the support that you need. What are your plans for after Ramadan? Is there like a big celebration, big party? Because it sounds like you're spending lots of time with family anyway, but what does the end of Ramadan look like?
A lot of food.
A lot of food, yeah. More family time. I think one thing that we get kind of grossed into, kind of forget about, is still conducting your prayers, because it's a requirement. It's a minimum requirement for Muslims. So it's easy enough to kind of, it's a day of celebration, family get together, sharing gifts with the children in the family, etc. Very much like Christmas, food, drink, not alcohol, just drink. And you kind of can get distracted in your day-to-day, wearing nice clothes, sharing gifts. And it's important for us to reflect that, okay, we've just had 30 days of fasting, sacrifice, getting closer to God, and we're going to throw that all away on just one day for the celebration of Eid. So it's one of those things that I reflect upon, and me and my wife do together. We kind of work well in that way. So it's one thing that we try and remember, that we've still got our praise to do.
Yeah, like I said, Ramadan's about making changes, making good habits that you can carry out into the next few months, or permanent changes. So I think whilst we are celebrating Eid only lasts 3 days. So I've celebrated it one day a year before. But those changes, it is important to carry out and carry on. So the fact that I've booked a prayer room here in the office is something that I'm looking into keeping for every day, which I'm sure won't be a problem. But even that, it's an option for me, and I appreciate that a lot.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time. As a final kind of takeaway point, and just building on something that you said, is there anything that, as a kind of final message, that you'd share with your colleagues around Ramadan and around kind of keeping these open communications with colleagues?
I think it's just important to be informed, and because if you don't ask the questions, then you don't know. And I think this podcast I'm hoping whoever's listening to this will just replay it next year, so that they can offer the same support, and they understand it a little bit more than we're just starving our body, because it is a lot more than that. We've barely spoken about the side effects of starving our body, the dehydration and the headaches. That's just one aspect of it. Obviously it's a big aspect, but there is a bigger message as to why we're observing Ramadan. So I think it's just stay informed and stay open to just trying to adapt for those 4 weeks.
Brilliant.
Just to kind of follow up on that, in the same light, communication's key. If there is a level of ignorance, you're genuinely interested in finding out, don't be shy to ask the question, of a fellow colleague who may know, who's a practicing Muslim. But generally speaking, the more awareness we can raise, the more confident an individual will be to approach somebody and ask the question, but also have an appreciation for what the individual will be going through in all lives of walk. So just generally ask the question, don't be shy.
Brilliant.
And I imagine there's going to be a lot of questions to be asked following this podcast that we probably missed, we didn't touch upon. But like I say, if you have got any questions, then feel free to ask.
Brilliant.
As you could tell, we love talking about this topic.
Well, I'm really appreciate your time, and I feel like I've learnt a lot in just this short time, and I will definitely have more questions after.
Sure.
I'm glad.
Thanks so much. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.